Boom. And we are live with another episode of the Brown Water Banter podcast. My name is Jared Seymour.
My name is Joey Cates.
It is Joey Cates, and we got a great show for you lined up. In the studio, we have running for U.S. Congressional 4th District in the state of Mississippi, Mike McGill in the studio today. He's going to be talking to us about his campaign. But before we do that, we're going to thank the people who keep the lights on for us, just like we always do here on the Brown Water Banter podcast. Right out of the gate, it's 2024. It's the year to smile more. Dr. Robbie Williams, located right here in Ocean Springs on Washington Avenue. You can look him up on the socials at Southern Magnolia Smiles on Facebook and Instagram. When you're ready to book that appointment, go get them pearly whites shined up. You can give him a call at 228-215-1202 and tell him that we sent you. Taylor & Cox Law Firm, our buddy Tyler. They've been practicing law on the Mississippi Gulf Coast for 30 plus years, man. If you find yourself in the boat where you need legal representation, give them a call at 228-696-0111, or you can look them up as well online. Taylor & Cox Law Firm. They specialize in felonies, misdemeanors, DUIs, family law, divorce, child custody. Nobody wants to need an attorney, but when you do, you want somebody in your corner that's going to fight tooth and nail, man. Taylor & Cox Law Firm. We highly recommend them, and tell them that we sent you. Our buddy Rocky Brooks over at Sea to Swamp, a local tackle and apparel store right here on the Mississippi Gulf Coast. He's got 2 locations, Goshen and Gulfport. He's got all your outdoor needs covered, man. He's slinging kayaks. He's got rods, reels, baits, anything you need. He does reel repair, you name it, he's got you covered. And he's also carrying brown water gear, which is super cool as well. So look him up on Facebook, see the number 2 and then Swamp, or you can give him a call at 228-205-3964. It is officially the middle of February. So if you're still working on starting that New Year's resolution, you have failed.
You probably need to try again.
However, it's still not too late to get back in the gym, to start working out and get off the couch. Stop feeling like a big turd. Go to Forever Young Men and Women's Health. Look them up on Facebook as well. Kendrick, go you can book an appointment with him. Let him do an evaluation. Let him figure out, do you need hormone replacement? Are you vitamin deficient? Is there something going on? Let him optimize your health.
Or you just like cookies.
And it's probably cookies. But Kendrick can get you back on the path to success, man. Give him a shout at 228-363-6623. That's Forever Young Men and Women's Health. And put your healthcare in the hands of a professional and get back, take control of your health and be healthy in 24. So Dewey Bugs, the host of this year's Bay Rat Bash. They're located in D'Iberville, right across the street from the Scarlet Pearl, and they are specializing in boiled seafood. Joey and I have talked about it on the show before. We're not sure that there's too many people out there slinging boiled seafood in a restaurant style. Also, with an open seafood market that he hasn't even started really marketing yet. Show up. You can order seafood to go or sit down and have a meal. I've heard a lot of good things about it. We're going to, like I said, it's going to be the host of the 2024 Bay Rat Bash that's coming up in a few weeks. So look them up on Facebook, Dewey Bugs, and tell them that you heard about him here. We have in the first weekend of March, the 2024 Biloxi Boat Show, March 8th through the 10th at the Mississippi Coast Coliseum. It's going to be our 3rd or 4th year in a row, I believe, being there. It's a great event. If you're into the outdoors, you can't miss it. It's all the boat manufacturers, man, from Blue Wave to Seafire. What, Joey, name them?
Anyone you want,
yeah,
really.
Anyone, yeah, exactly, that you could think of are going to be there. Yamaha, Mercury, the whole 9. Some boats that you can't afford, that you just want to go watch and look at. All kind of stuff for the outdoors. All types of manufacturers for different products. It's going to be real cool, and we're going to be set up there, and we're going to be hanging out. So look them up on Facebook. They have a Facebook page, Biloxi Boat Show, and mark that on your calendars, March 8th through the 10th. And I'll quickly just mention, like I've said a couple times already, the Bay Rat Bash will be April the 13th. At Dewey Bugs in D'Iberville. We're giving away $1,000 for the first place catfish. So who can catch the biggest catfish, turn it into $1,000. You can't beat that. Nope. Subcategories for black drum, croaker, white trout, and we're going to have a spearfish division if you're into diving. We got a lot of sponsors there that we're going to be talking more about as we get closer, but you can see their logos here on the screen. So that's going to wrap it up for that. Let's jump into the conversation. Let's start like we always like to do, man. Michael, give us your backstory. Were you born here on the Gulf Coast?
Yeah, I was born here on the Gulf Coast, 1980. It was a long time ago, I guess.
No, yeah, too much.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I know that too. So that's kind of fun part. But so I was born here in Long Beach, Mississippi.
All right.
And I stayed here pretty much my whole life. So I guess growing up with me, I living here on the coast. I'm we're a family of fishermen. We've always lived
Absolutely.
here. So we poor family. My dad was a water well driller. We just that's what we did. We lived off the Gulf and everything like that. And as I got older and older, my family finally took over the water well drilling business from my uncle. And then that was our primary means. So that was kind of fun to do that, travel around, South Mississippi, learning about geology and things like that. So that was kind of fun. And then as I got older, I went to Harrison Central High School. After that, I went into law enforcement for about 2 years after when I turned 21. So I was able to do that. And then spent 2 years in law enforcement. And then ultimately in 2003, I was able to join the Army.
Okay.
So you were a Red Rebel then?
I am. That's right. I sure am. One of the originals. Yeah. So it's so crazy when they built that other school out there on like County Farm Road, because that was right by my house. I was like, that's
West Harrison.
That's a nice school.
Yeah, it's not bad. I teach you the one that looks just like it, but it's in the Iron Bro.
Yeah, correct. The twin schools. Yeah.
When you did, who did you work for in law enforcement?
Long Beach.
Long Beach Police.
Yeah.
All right.
2 years, you said?
2 years.
See a lot?
Yeah, it's in Long Beach. We don't think much of it. It's a nice city. It's a friendly city,
Right.
But they're still their own. They still got their own issues that every city works through with people passing through and stuff. And it's a great way to help the community. I've always been involved in the community and things like that. So, once you get bitten by that kind of, citizen helping citizens, you kind of go with it. It engulfs you and becomes part of your life, and allowed me to, move into the military from there. Something just felt right to do. After that, I was given the opportunity. Reason I waited so long to get in the military, I was born with a club foot deformity. So I had a bad foot. It was, bad leg muscle. I was in cast. And then the Shriners Hospital, I had to go up to Shreveport to the Shriners Hospital, get my leg worked on.
Okay.
From a baby. So I was in cast from like the day I was born until like probably 7-8 years old.
Wow.
Yeah. So, leg shorter and everything. So.
I just got off 6 weeks of crutches, so I can totally.
Yeah.
I was
relate.
older. I wasn't a child doing it. But
I was
new appreciation for two healthy legs.
We got a buddy who's done the same thing as you. One of his legs is longer than the other one. It's the same thing, man. And never knew it until you look at him walk, and he's kind of he's wobbling.
Absolutely. My right foot is like a 4 triple wide. It's like a square, and it's the other. And it's got not as much leg muscle mass as it needs to be. So I had to work extra hard to do anything that I had to do. I had to continue to when everybody else was at 100%, I had to go to 150 to maintain the average. But, and my family was poor. We couldn't afford to do that. So the Shriners Hospital kind of stepped in and took over and helped transport me to the Shreveport, to the Shriners place up there, to their hospitals. And,
they do great things.
Yeah. And I'm telling you.
Besides the little bitty cars.
The cars are just, they are.
It's a marketing tool.
It is, exactly. Because they have transportation, teams, they're doctors and everything. So the Shriners is like the coolest thing in the world, to get involved in something like that.
So you did the law enforcement thing, and then
I joined the Army. So finally, I was able to get qualified to join the Army, and I left Gulfport in 2003, March 3rd, 2003, and left.
Hot at that point, right?
Yes.
That's Iraq.
Correct. That's the beginning of the Operation Iraqi Freedoms and stuff like that. So,
and you were older.
Yeah, I was 23 at the time. So that's
you were going as a grandpa.
Yeah, correct. and it's true. The average age is like 18 years old. So I already went in, and having a law enforcement background and being balanced and understanding the situation a little bit better gives you a little bit more leadership drive and things like that. So I was very lucky to get into go into the Army and then become I'm in the field artillery. So I shoot multiple launch rocket systems. So, the HIMARS, if you're familiar with what's going on in Ukraine, the HIMARS rocket systems that are hitting all those targets, that's my people. So that's like literally my people.
That's
like
what I'm talking
when I got out of the Army, that my unit was training the Ukrainians to shoot our equipment. That's our, we send all our vehicles over there, armed them, trained them. So,
what year did you go? How long were you in for? You went in 2003. How long were you in for?
23. So I got out. I've been out about 8 months now.
Damn. Oh,
really?
So you did 20 years.
Yeah.
Nice.
Did 20 years.
Okay.
So retired about 8 months ago, and now.
Okay. I was thinking we were doing Ukraine stuff back then.
No.
Just got out.
I just got out. So when I left my battalion at Fort Sill, they were the ones training. My battle buddies were physically over in Germany and Poland and stuff, training those guys on how to shoot, move, and communicate. So that's kind of cool. So I trained in the I guess the best part of it is like I trained the soldiers that are training those soldiers to fight the Ukrainian war. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. You got to see some stuff as far as like places you've been.
So I went to Fort Sill, it's home of the field artillery, did all my training there. And then I deployed to Iraq in about 2004, which was Iraqi OIF 3, I guess you could say.
Right.
So I went over there for that. And spending a year over there. Yeah, the sandbox. Yeah. So went over there and did that. Saw the normal combat stuff, been blown up 3 times.
Wow. Nice.
So
we got a buddy of ours who's blown up Nick, how many times he got blown up? He told us he was in a mine. Like clear, just
terrible.
He lost his ear and he's got all kinds of stuff.
It's like I would have never rode in a vehicle with you as many times as you got.
Joke around. It's true because like as you learn as you go into the military, you got guys you don't ride with.
I would have been that guy 100%.
We would move. Well, it's like I got blown up 3 times, but we had a guy, Sergeant Markley. And the guy was just a mag. Nobody wanted nowhere to be. Don't want to be in front of him. Don't want to be in the back. Just put him in the front and just let him get it over with.
Right.
Yeah.
And it was. And like he would, get nervous, but he's like, I just don't want to go out today.
He could feel it.
Yeah, you can.
We're laughing at that, but
we all laugh. If he was here with us, he would laugh at you. It's very serious, but at the same time, as a soldier, you accept. You know what you're doing. This is the ways to a mean to get to a better country for better people for them, better a better country for us. So you want to. We'll do it all over again tonight. If they called me and said, "Hey, we're gonna bring that whole team back together,
right,
and we're gonna go back."
Boys, we're getting the band back. Well,
we thank you for your service.
Yeah,
thank you for your service.
Did you see any other places like Europe, Germany?
Yeah. So I came back, from being in Iraq, and from there, like you're saying, about hearing, same way I wear hearing aids. I can't believe I wear hearing aids.
I bet that too.
But they got their Bluetooth, and I can listen to audiobooks all day.
Yeah. What's cool is you could listen to it like in the middle of. Nobody even knows what you're listening.
Yeah, that's it. I can listen to Brown Water all day.
That's right.
There you go.
Well, Nick always says.
Trade.
Yeah, Nick always says when his wife starts yelling at him, he's
no, it's cool. So I got bad hearing from that. But anyway, I came back from Iraq, and then we transitioned back in MLRS, multiple launch rocket systems, and then they're like, you're going to Africa. So I was able to train up to do combat search and rescue. My unit, my little squad or my platoon went to Africa, and we did joint combat search and rescue for like the Horn of Africa, all over Africa. So it just mainly, we were stationed in Djibouti, but we would fly to wherever somebody pushed the 911 button.
Yeah,
that's where the ones that got to go. So
are you like an artillery attachment to a rescue mission? How does that work?
Somebody rolled the dice, man, and
and you ended up there.
And I knew it was the greatest mission of my life. I knew it right away because, at that time we were considered infantry. This is an opportunity of a lifetime. Like, I'm going to hang out with special forces guys all day, do God's work, and that's what we did. And so we get there, we trained up, and we got to Africa, and then all right, you're attached to the pararescues with the Air Force, and tomorrow when they'll rotate out, it'll be the Navy SEALs, it'll be Rangers or whoever it was. So you got to do cool guy stuff all the time.
Yeah.
And that was really cool. So, we in the middle of the night, they're like, suit up, let's go. Where we going? We'll tell you when we land.
Yeah,
like,
right.
Okay, great.
All right.
So that was cool. And then there's
like adrenaline junkies.
Yeah. I mean, jumping out of helicopters and, like, hey, you want to go? We're going to do some halos, some high altitude, low opening jumps.
Yep.
Will you open up the landing zone for us? Yes, please.
Sure.
I'll open that.
I'll open anything you want.
Just take the 4-wheeler and go out there.
Yeah.
And it was cool. And so I got to do a lot of training. What was cool about that is the training up to it. I got to go to MARSOC, which is the Marine.
Yeah, it was Raiders.
Yeah. So MARSOC. So I got to go to.
I'm a fan. I didn't serve. I'm just
no. That's cool.
Fan.
No. You should be. Everybody should be. They're great guys. Great community. So get to go to MARSOC and learn human tracking and heavy weapons attack and run, so just do it in MARSOC is just kind of cool. Marine Special Operations School.
Yeah. And
just to be Army and be able to go to something like that. We were hand selected to do that specifically for whatever their skill sets they were looking for. And, we had a great group of guys and we just loved it. And that's all we did was train. Everybody's, y'all are crazy. I'm like, no, we just really like what we do. It was just fun.
And at that high stakes game, you better know what you're doing, right? There's no margin for errors.
Oh yeah, I mean, I was jumping out of helicopters and sliding down ropes.
Yeah, you better know what you're doing when you're going to fast rope down out of a helicopter.
Correct. Yeah, that's how I got my neck hurt.
Because gravity works every time. It always works.
You can guarantee that what goes up will come down. So I was. We'll say we're near the Somali border.
There you go.
Let's just call it that.
Right.
And we were coming off the rope, and the guy pulled the stick man, the helicopter pilot pulls up, and the helicopter goes vertical, and I got on the ground. I made it. And then the guy above me,
he took a ride.
Huge, big old heavy set boy, and
falls
landed
right
on me,
on top of
crushes me, messed my neck up. I didn't know it. I didn't know my neck was messed up till probably 2 years ago when I couldn't turn left and right. Something was wrong. So
that was when you hit 40.
Yeah, probably about
over
that.
Here. Yeah, I know exactly.
I was like, man, I feel like somebody landed on me.
Yeah,
it is. But you get to shoot. I never thought in my life I'd be shooting, sniper rifles out of a helicopter that's in the air. Just like,
that's cool.
And as an artilleryman,
I was gonna say, as an artillery
this is not normal for us. And so I was able to spend basically almost 2 years in Africa working with, Marines or Navy SEALs or whatever. And like say a Navy SEAL got in some trouble somewhere, over wherever they were at, we were the extraction team that would come get them and.
The cavalry.
It's like usually those guys, their rules is like use all the bullets before they get on the plane. They get so like, well, we're out of bullets, and so we would do that, and it was very fun. I enjoyed it. I think that was probably the greatest part of my military, just being able to do that. But I just enjoyed being around people that wanted us and knew that they were like the military and sense of the civilians in the community, and like I claim. Ethiopia is my place, it's like, yes, so like that's, I got to go to all these different places and meet all these people, and they were just wonderful humans. And I just wish everybody could go to Africa. If they would, their whole life would be different in the way they think. So that's kind of cool. Yeah.
Like more appreciative of the US.
Yeah. And just humans in general. They're just really good humans over there.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
I met a taxi driver that knew 7 languages and he was poor. Like he was just like, it was like,
damn. Yeah. You're like, dude, you don't know what kind
absolutely.
of skills you're sitting on.
And it's true. I'm like, I rode in a taxi. The driver sat on a bucket, and we had flashlights taped to the mirrors of the taxi, and it would only go into second gear. And this guy could speak 7 languages. It's like, man, you're in the wrong place.
Yeah, you're in the wrong part of the world.
But they're just humble people, and they just appreciate everything. But
when did you get out? You said
I got out about 8 months ago.
Okay, and so has the desire to run for office, has that always been in the back of your mind? Or
no. I guess I got to go back a little bit further then. I guess if we want to get to where it is, because like I have so many hats, and I consider myself a humble person for the most part. So I have a nonprofit.
You're running for office. You got to put all that to bed.
I know.
You got to start talking about yourself.
Mm-hmm. So when I was in Africa, we were in a position to do a lot of humanitarian work. They're like, hey, who wants to go, feed babies that are in an orphanage? Like, pick us. Me and my guys would go. And we would feed these community people. We'd work with animals, like hyena rescue. That was the coolest one, it was a hyena rescue. And we would do all that. And we were like, man, we really appreciate and enjoy, helping the community like this. So then we came back to America, and me and my buddies were like, let's continue that same energy here in America, focusing on American problems. And so we started a nonprofit called the School of Athens, and our mission was to provide underprivileged children and veterans with an equal opportunity at life. And it could be anything. So just a small little nonprofit. We continued to take on the burdens of, a child. We had one child, the family couldn't afford a tombstone. So we were raising money for that. Simple, for example, here recently, 2 years ago, we paid off 19 elementary school lunch debts. Like we raised the money, and like 2,000 kids roughly. So 19 elementary schools here in South Mississippi.
Oh, wow.
Were able to get fed again.
Yeah.
And, we provided, personal protection equipment during COVID for some of the nurses down here. We provided a bunch of little stuff, but we clothes and shoes and food and whatever.
Was the tombstone in the U.S. too?
Yes, yeah, all this, all this was in the U.S.
Yeah,
and then we just kind of like, wow, we're really good at this, And we had the Shrine, and back to the Shrine, Ronald McDonald House and the Shriners, if you're familiar with them both.
Yes.
They asked us, they were like, hey, because we were in Oklahoma City's about an hour and a half from us, and so they have we'd go up there and visit with the kids, and they were like, hey, there's a kid, an infant, and like we need money. The family needs some help. The Shriners Hospital or the Ronald McDonald House is free per se, but everything has a call. Oh,
yeah. Both of my children were premature.
Perfect.
Bird at USA. Right?
Oh, that's awesome.
But somebody's got to pay for it.
There's electricity and everything, and we know that it's roughly $37 or roughly something like that, $57 a night to, do everything. And it was like, well, let us help continue take that burden off the family. And so we were able to raise like $3,000 for this child and this family to continue to have the best life while they waited for their child to get better.
Right.
And then the kid a month later, miraculously better, everything's good. And we were like, that's it. We were on the right path.
Yeah.
So we continue doing that. And then, as military soldiers, we leave the country. We all, have to go on our way. And I had to go to Korea. And I continued doing the same work. We were over there, and I would be in Korea and do orphanages and make sure kids had presents and stuff. We provided 3 orphanages with roughly 120 kids with, Christmas presents. Got all the soldiers together and coordinated it and made sure we feed the homeless.
Military Santa Claus.
Yes, exactly. And so, making sure the kids in the Philippines, a bag of rice in the Philippines will go far.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
And then when we come back to America, a school that we knew over there in Africa, my buddy Eddie, he runs the school. And he was like, hey, rice is their primary food, but during the drought season, it's hard to get. Mm-hmm. And they have to go to market and an auction market. And he's like, we're in trouble. I was like, how much you need? 212 kilos of food or rice. Done. Let's do this, boys. And even from America and after coming back from Africa, we were still continuing to provide for children in Africa. And then we're talking about a small group of soldiers. This is not an organization.
You talk about winning hearts and minds, right?
Yeah.
Y'all are doing it on your own.
We were winning
right?
we were, but we were winning our own hearts and minds too at the same time. We love doing it.
Right.
And when you have the ability to do something, and if you don't do it, man, you got to, like I tell people, if you have the ability to respond, it is your responsibility. And that we did. When Eddie's like, can you help us buy 212 pounds of kilos? Right. Done.
Yeah.
So, we do that. And so that leading back to the whole point of the conversation that's how it started. Me and my sons were delivering potatoes into the very impoverished neighborhoods. And I'm just sitting there and we're delivering milk and potatoes and everything was going on. And I'm just like, this is crazy. Here's the problems right here. I can see them. They're right in front of me. What's wrong with America? Because this ain't a Mississippi problem or an Oklahoma. This is a national problem. There's kids everywhere that are doing like this. And I was like, how can we do this on a grander scale and more efficient? And I was like, we need to change the laws. That's where then I was like, okay, all right. Okay. I need to run for Congress. And that's how it came in because I feel like when we pick people to run for Congress, they're running for the wrong reasons. They're running because of these, the political topics, the hot topics that everybody wants to hear.
Right.
But what we don't talk about is that how Mississippi ranks number 10 in human trafficking. It's the second most lucrative crime in the United States, other just drugs and human trafficking. Right. And nobody wants to tackle it. Yeah. And that's crazy to me. But we'll talk about the most important, the radical left or the radical right. We'll do that. And because they're good topics, nobody wants to keep their head down and focus on what's important to actual Mississippians. We rank number 50 in food inequality. We rank number 50 in healthcare, quality of life. And if we could get somebody that would focus on what's important to Americans, like actual Americans, instead of try to get, some street credit or, get a talking point on the news, we might be in a better place. Just someone that really cares about Americans much more than they care about, a status or how they got on Fox News or something like that, or CNN. So
when you said that you realized that laws needed to be changed, what were you talking about specifically as far as what were you trying to accomplish and what laws needed to be changed?
Well, it's for example, it's we talk about, here in America, we're not getting the same, what's the best way to say it? We're not getting the same representation at certain groups of people. Everybody's not getting equally represented.
Okay.
And that's an issue for me. I think so those are some of the things, that's the simple things. But when it comes to laws that we need to do, we need to make it so that our VA hospitals are better run.
Yeah. I've heard that's a nightmare. I've never had to deal with it, but I've heard it's a nightmare.
This sounds so simple, but if we could just make fentanyl a class 1 narcotic, we could arrest people a lot different. Human trafficking, if you get caught with a child or some cocaine, you will get more time in jail for the cocaine than you will the child. We must increase human trafficking laws and things like that. And, we talk about mental health. We need to be able to provide mental health to people. A basic level. Mississippi has an issue when it comes to are homeless issues here on the coast.
Right.
And then we look at homeless issues. Well, it's caused of drugs. Well, what caused the drugs? Mental health.
Usually,
and we tackle the homelessness, but we don't understand the pipeline it comes
Treat the
from.
symptom, not the problem.
Correct.
Yeah.
And that's what it could do, we could really help out with that. So for me, it's just bringing more awareness, because a lot of the laws are ready to be there. We just got to fix them. They're old.
Okay.
We got to update them and things like that. So if we could turn around and start focusing on stop spending $190 billion in the Ukraine and help build the infrastructure here in the Mississippi or here in the United States. I mean, our infrastructure is 40 years old behind schedule. It's old.
Yeah. It's already old.
It should be illegal to sell land near a military base to the Chinese.
I'm surprised that we sell land to the Chinese, period. I didn't know. I've heard that before, and I'm like, somebody
we sell farmland.
What are they doing?
Yeah,
with
farmland.
Yeah.
Exactly.
This is mind blowing. This is a national
security.
Defense issue.
Yeah,
exactly. And so, there's 143 congressmen, there's 435 congressmen in Congress, and only 80 are military. And I'm not saying that has a do, but those 80 know. I promise you, they're like, whoa, and I think we need to put more congressmen, that are military oriented or understanding, that goes on, because you never been in the military, you don't understand what it's like out there. You don't know about security. Let me look at all the documents right now that the president lost in his house and things like that. Yeah. Us that have been in the SCIF, which is like the secret document room.
Yeah,
right.
We know, God knows. You leave it out your head.
Yeah.
You would be in prison.
I mean, you could lose them. Yeah. You're going to lose more than that.
Like when I was, currently, I currently hold a secret clearance in the Army. I still have my clearance today. I'm the only, so it's understandable to know how important, to keep a secret clearance and have one. I know what it takes to do that. I know the procedures for going into the military like that. So I couldn't imagine walking out with the red folder going, man, I wonder if they're going to miss this. It's
like leaving high school,
put it on the golf cart. We'll never see it.
And to me, you were in the military. You'll understand this. I mean, the president is the commander in chief. He's the highest ranking military person that we have.
He's the man.
To let them have such an egregious, different set of rules, and they all do it. It's not just one administration. I think they've all done it to certain degrees. Yeah. Some within reason, I guess. Some more lax than others. But then you think about the Hillary Clinton email scandal, where she had all those on her private server, then deleted them, and nothing happens. It's just for the guys.
If that would happen in the military, we'd be under the prison.
Right. Exactly. And that's not you don't lead. You lead by example.
Correct.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah. And I agree. And that's what we're not seeing and I really think the reason is because we've went so long without military actively in Congress that we're seeing civilian side effects to it.
Yeah.
And the civilians doing a great job, but I'm kind of more mad at the soldiers for not stepping up to the plate after they retire or whatever. It's like they just want to go home and relax. Buddy, your
work to be done.
Your shift just begun.
Right.
The Army gave me 20 years of skills that I need to put to work. Finally, I'm ready to go. Yeah. I've worked in the government. I've been a diplomat for, dozens of countries with the Army. When I was in Africa, I was if a foreign military came in town, I was the first guy they met. Hey, what do you need? What do you want? What can we do to strengthen our relationships and create that? And that's the way it was. I'm the only one of these guys that are running for Congress or in Congress that understands foreign diplomacy the way I do. I lived in Korea, North Korea or South Korea for 4 years. I lived on the border. So when we talk about
DMZ,
I live right up on the border. Right up in there, 37, 38. It just kind of depends. It's history moved it around a little bit, but I lived on the border for 4 years. I know what it takes to guard a border. I've physically held a rifle. Don't go past
come through here.
Don't come.
You've seen that.
I've seen it. So when I hear people talk about the border,
it's not a topic.
It's not a topic for me. It's like a real deal. And I just sit back and I'm, the quiet guy in the room going, already, and because the issue is the laws are in place. Anybody's like, well, I can shut down the border. No, you can't. No, the border cannot be shut down. The president has to shut down the border.
Right.
The president has to get a call. I cannot go to Congress and be like, I am personally going to shut this border down. It's not possible. Right. It's impossible. It's the president has to choose when to shut the border down. Yeah. And that's the thing when he's like, okay, boys, lock her down. And then the whole military will pounce on him.
Right.
But
we had a pretty good showing in Texas. Still, I think we got people, guys rolling over there. Just freelancing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know what? And, I'm glad they're able to do that and have that thing. And it's a much more complicated, situation. And I wish they would allow the government to handle it. You know, at the state level and the federal level, we could find an answer. But, you know, right now they're using the Texas border as a ploy at the Republican and Democratic level. You know, it's like Democrats want to pass a bill. The Republicans like, no, wait, let's wait a little longer because we need this to win these elections. And, you know, and the Democrats are doing the same thing. They're like, look at us. And they're so busy internally squabbling that they're not wanting to do their job.
Right.
They just want to be seen and heard and, you know, say crazy
votes.
things. Yeah, that's it.
Votes in the box.
And it's like, you want $1? You almost got it.
You almost had it.
You almost had it.
Yeah.
And that's what they're doing.
You know, it's we do politics on the show.
Yeah.
I've kind of come full circle with it, with being mad at the elected officials.
Yep.
You know, both sides of the aisle, they hold the country hostage.
Correct.
Whether you're talking about debt ceiling, the southern border, whatever,
especially in an election year.
Yeah, exactly. And I understand that. I don't think it's right, but I get why they do it, I guess. So then, like, the more you look at it, the more you watch the news, the angrier you get. I've kind of turned it around, and now it's like, I blame the American voter because because if it's just like you said, you have to have, I'm paraphrasing, you have to have your house in order to be able to help other people.
Correct.
I think you were saying something along those lines. You know, as an educated American and a voter, you should pay attention to these issues. Some people pay attention to that, and then don't vote these people in. Don't vote these guys that have been in office for 60, 40, whatever years that keep doing the same thing. After that, if they knew they were going to lose their job over the southern border being the way it is, they would fix it tomorrow. Yesterday. They would fix it yesterday.
They absolutely would have. And like, you know, you got congressman that's been in there 9 years. It's never passed a bill. 19 years. It's never passed a bill. Like, show me your record of how you done. And you've done nothing. You're stagnant.
All they're doing, collecting moss.
That's it. You know, $175,000 a year plus per diem. That's
towing the party line.
Yeah, that's it. Right? Yeah.
And like, I'm just aggravated with everybody. Like, I mean, just everybody. And like you said something about the voter that was really important. In the primary, only about 50 to 52,000 people are going to come out to vote. And then in the general, about 247,000 are going to come out and vote. It's massive. They're doing it opposite. You need to come out in the primary. That's when it is. That's the way it needs to be.
Well, I think our country is so far red or far blue that's what it is. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
I don't care who's running as long as it's a Republican.
Yep.
Or I don't care who's running as long as it's a Democrat.
And I hear that a lot because, like, for me, one party's mad at me, the other party, you're not a Republican, you're not a Democrat, whatever they're saying. And it's because I just won't put up with them. I don't want to follow their agendas. Like, I've been in the Army for 20 years. I've been slapped, beat up. No man is going to tell me how to feel.
Right.
You know what? I know what's morally and ethically right. And for me to go and tell a bunch of suits to tell me, well, you're going to do this because it's the way of the party.
Right.
No, that's not the way of the American.
Because you have a spine.
Yeah, correct. Exactly. I have a backbone.
Right.
And I have full intentions on using it. I'm not worried about what somebody's opinion is. I never have been.
You're not trying to go up there to make friends.
No,
right?
No, I'm not. I honestly want to keep my head down and make change and do the right things. And people are like, man, I didn't hear nothing. He did all that and I didn't even know about it. But for me, it's something that I learned as a senior leader in the military, a senior non-commissioned officer, that we must mentor, motivate, and direct soldiers. We have to give them purpose to move on. And if we're not giving our voters motivation and purpose and direction, we're failing them. I think the biggest issue that I see when it comes to Congress people, we don't think of a congressperson as a mentor. And I hate that. I hate that idea. I want people to be like, I want to grow up to be like that one day. And that's not what we have anymore.
That's few and far between.
Yeah, I know. And it's true. I mean, like, just be a good human. Like, that's really what it boils down to, is like, pick a congressperson that's going to be a good human. Look at what they did before they ran. Look at their past history. Mm-hmm. What did they do where they didn't make money off of it? It's like, oh, I did this for 40 years. I did this for 20 years, but you made a profit off of it.
Yeah. Well, they go in worth, let's say, $400,000 total worth or whatever, come out 8 years later and they're worth $12, $15 million, right?
It's amazing.
It's it's weird how that happened. And you only made $120,000 a year of salary.
Yeah, exactly. And that's it. I mean, so like, I think we just got to look at the content of the character of somebody and say, where their morals and ethics is. And like, for me, it's in the child that doesn't have a voice.
Right. Yeah.
It's in the mother that's single and doesn't have anybody that will listen to them. That's the issues that I find for myself when, running and I look around, I see consistently the same problems everywhere I go. It's the same things. There's issues, and the representatives just aren't listening to them because they're getting paid by super PACs or PACs. Like I have no PACs. There's no. They'd have to. The only PAC I want is like somebody
one
like
man wolf pack.
Yeah, exactly. I want a PAC from like Mississippi Mental Health Association. That'd be a great PAC. Something like that. I don't need certain PACs for so and so to come give me money, but then I have to follow what they I have to do everything they say. No, I'd rather just be a good man and do what's right. And not have somebody have to be like, well, you didn't say enough about so-and-so, or you didn't do this, or you didn't push this agenda that we want. I was like, well, that agenda doesn't represent all people. Everybody has a right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. If it affects that, then I have a problem and I can't stand for it. Everybody has right to life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. Yeah. And it's just the way it is. Like, I can't imagine not thinking that. And everybody feels that way until it offends them. It's like, everyone's like, I'm a patriot. I was like, well, wait a minute. I don't know about that. Right. And that's some of the issues that we see is like, there's so much that needs to change when our congressmen are so much older than the average Mississippian. So for example, Mississippians, 52% female, average age is 37. The average age of American is 38. But our congressmen are so much older. Mm-hmm. And so it's like, hey, you know what? I retired. I'm 43. I'll do it. Mm-hmm. I'll run.
You have the time.
I have the experience. Yes. I'm like, I got diplomatic experience. Like I said, I still have a secret clearance. I understand how documents work. Mm-hmm. I care about people more than I care about anything else. That's the most important thing to me is about humans. I want to communicate consistently and never leave a voter uninformed. And when, to do that, today, everybody's like, that's what we want. Like, okay, great. Here I am. Put my name on the ballot. Like, well, and that's what it, so we have to decide, are we a Democrat? Are we a Republican? Are we an American? And if we make a decision off of that, then we can do the right thing in our country, because all of that is built off lies and tricks that they're all both trying to do to divide our people so they can do their own personal agenda while the people squabble back and forth. Mm-hmm. And I mean, we all see it, but for some reason we won't come out and vote it out.
Yeah, that's what I can't understand.
We won't vote it out. It's like, we know that guy's a terrible person, but he's
got the R by his name. Yeah, he's got the D by his name.
It's like, for example, for myself,
or her,
say, I've heard both of the opponents say this, I'd like to run for 12 more years. They would be 75 years old. I will be 53.
I don't understand, especially with this presidential race coming up, the two people that are probably going to be in the election are fossils. Correct. They're literally fossils.
Yeah.
And I understand some older people are, what's your boy? The guy that you defend when you say the older people, I take him over a younger guy.
Is he a currently in government?
We always bring this argument up, and you say, well, I'll take him over any younger guy.
Rand Paul, maybe? I don't know.
It doesn't make any sense to me. If we got 80-year-old people running for president, they've lived life. I mean, they aren't caught up on today's term.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly what it is. Is that we got, let's say 70 some odd year old people representing Congress, and then the average Mississippian or average American is 37 years old, and then they're not in tune. So like the Republican Party's like in shambles because the what we call the silent voter, which is that middle grade. You're like, why would I vote? Then people are going to make decisions for me, and they don't know how I feel. They don't care how I feel. And they're like, we just let, there's nothing we can do anyway. And because these younger people, they're like, they don't care if gay people get married. You know what I mean? They believe that women have the right to their own bodies. And the moment that the older party members of either side have that conversation, like, whoa, wait a minute. We disconnected from it. We were there for a second. And that's what it is. Like the parties must develop and change and shift with the times. To me right now, it's like the Republican Party's in the 1965 mentality. It's just, we got to keep going to maintain a better party. The party must be fluid at all times. It has to keep changing so that we keep up, because the party of today is not going to be the same party in 10 years. Mm-hmm.
It definitely ain't. It definitely ain't.
And I don't know if that's good or bad, but if you want a party to thrive and survive and take on and recruit more younger people, we have to change the mentality of our parties to get better off.
I agree with everything y'all are saying, and I agree with fresh ideas and all, like, that kind of stuff.
Warren Buffett.
He's
old.
Yeah, I don't use him as an example, but it's funny you say that, because that's what I was thinking of. And I don't think I've ever used that in a discussion that we've had. But I'm a little less not so much focused on a number. Like, for instance, Joe Biden is, what's he going to be, 70, whatever he is.
And he can't ride a bike.
Yeah, and he's obviously lost the step, whether you're Democrat or Republican. I mean, that's just very easy to see. Donald Trump, whether you love him or hate him or not, I think he's still very mentally where he needs to be. You may hate him, you may hate his policies, and that's fine. Well, I don't think he's mentally not there fit to be able to run for president.
Correct.
The president is supposed to be, for me, like the guy. The guy. So we're got a guy who fell off a bike, and Putin's over there wrestling tigers.
Riding around. I get it. Yeah,
that's true. So to me, it's more about the person than so much it is the age. You know, I think, and there is something to be said too about wisdom and experience.
Correct.
Like you're talking
100%.
about versus being super young. Now there are some people who are super young and just ahead of the their numerical age or whatever. So I was a big Ramaswamy fan. I loved everything he was talking about. He not only brought up topics, issues, he had very detailed ways of getting it done. And he's just going up against the Trump train. Now he has the money. He's loaded.
No, he got targeted. You know what I mean? Like, because I really liked him in the beginning. I was like, he's really putting it to him.
He's the radical. You talk about fresh ideas. There's no fresher ideas.
Yeah, and
whether you like it or not.
Yeah, I loved him. I was like, he's going to break the system, and because that's what I want. You know, I want to
drain the swamp.
Yeah,
right.
Drain the swamp. I want to set it all on fire and replace it. You know, and you know that's what it. You know,
you say set it all on fire. We should drain the swamp. I was listening to another interview the other day. Our republic is good. The way the founding fathers wrote it. Our government structure is great. It's just the people that are in it right now that need the replace.
Correct, and that's
we don't need to throw the whole system
is
out.
Fine.
Yes,
the system is fine. I mean, I study history, and you know, I get it. I mean, we could change the titles of the past, change some words around, but the problems are still the same. You know, we still struggle the same way. It's just like we send representatives are so disconnected, from the people. And that's what it is. Like, when Mississippi is. Like I said, ranks number 50 in,
we're the first or last.
Yeah, right. That's it. And that's a shame. That is the biggest issue for me. It was like, you see it right there. But then they're like, watch this magic show. Correct. And then everybody gets blinded by that.
We haven't said it yet, but you're running for the Republican ticket.
Yes.
People may have picked up on that.
Yeah, I'm a Republican, but I'm just mad at everybody.
Right, and that's good. That's what I want to hear.
I'm just mad at everybody. It's I'm a Republican. I love it. I tell people all the time, I am the new Republican. I am the one that broke through and said, hey, I'm the the alternative candidate for the Republican Party because you can vote for someone that like myself that just that's into this and ready to go and said, hey, I'm ready to make changes, and I know they're not going to be comfortable.
Right.
Or we can stick to the same thing that's failing us and we're just falling apart. And so that's the issue that with the Republican Party, we can do so much better and we can recruit and bring in younger people that want to be Republicans. We just got to understand that there's more than one opinion. Being a Republican is not a light switch. It's not on or off, and that's the issue that we see the most is like, I mean, different types. They're like, I want to be Republican, but they tell me I'm not a Republican. It's like, son, you're a Republican. I promise you. Don't let nobody tell you something you ain't. And that's what it is. I'm just angry at the system. Like I see how it's failed, us. And it's kind of part of the one reason, that's, I'm running for a lot of reasons, but that's one of them. I just want to be brave enough to not have to worry about, what somebody else thinks. Never have. I like I said, I've been blown up. I've been shot. I'm missing part of my thumb. I got some bullets in the left leg. I've been there. I've done that. And there's just no man that can tell me how to think.
Right.
Yeah. I don't mean this in a bad way at all. Gung-ho, ready to get the job done. You get up there and it stands still.
Yep.
Because it's the old correct ways. How do we go about changing that outside of?
Because I believe that the people that I'm searched for, they're already there, but they're just so used to it. We just got to be like, hey, who wants to, start doing this a little bit better? There's nobody up there willing to be like, okay, I'm ready to change the game a little bit.
Almost like the Tea Party was in the 2010s or when were they? 2008, something like that.
Love
they had a problem. And they were like, hey, taxes is our thing. Right? If I'm getting this right.
Correct.
And they kind of created their own little sub caucus within House of Representatives, right?
Yep. Yes, exactly what they did.
Oh, I thought you were talking about like actually dumping tea.
Well, that's what the name was.
Dumping tea since 1773. That's my guys. But yeah, no, I think there's Republicans up there that are just waiting for the right guy to, like, I can reach out. So the first thing I'm doing, I got a couple of guys I want to go knock on the door. Some of these military guys like, hey man, let's team up and start pulling these logs out of the dam. I'm not going to go change the world up there, but I'm going to create a process that I can tag out to the next guy and he can pick up where I left off. This is all, I'm not going to fix the world, but I'm going to start the change. That's all I want.
So we got the primaries that we have to go through first, right? And that's coming up in a couple.
That's March 12th.
Okay, March the 12th. So we have 3 people running, including yourself. Yes. You're one of the 3. What has it been like for you? Let's start here. Like, if somebody's going to just jump in right now and hear us talking, what would you say your campaign? What's your elevator speech, right? Like, what is your hot topic issue?
So sell us on you right now.
I tell people right off the bat, my name is Michael McGill. I'm a 43-year-old combat veteran. I'm a nonprofit leader, an advocate for human rights, and someone who helps families in need. Some of the issues that are priorities to me are ones that affect us at the local level, like such as human trafficking. We talk about food insecurities. We talk about insurance costs here on the coast is just out of control.
Unbelievable.
We look at fentanyl as an epidemic that's just going crazy right now. I don't feel like our law enforcement are getting the respect and the powers and the equipment they need to do their job even better. So, I mean, we could go on and on about what's important, but it's the things that are affecting people right now. I don't think that people should be, foreign countries should be able to buy land next to our military bases or buy our crops or stuff like that. That's the things that I think are the most important right now. And there's always more. It's going to change every day. But these are the things that make me wake up every morning and figure out what can I do to make the world a better place.
Okay.
And so those are things for me that women are having issues right now. I'm interested in fighting for women's rights. They don't feel like they are being representative. And I don't think anybody around here wants to do that. I do. I'm interested. My family's fought, in human rights or civil rights as long as we've been alive, and then I'm going to continue that fight.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's kind of tiptoeing on the line.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're a tiptoer.
Yeah, but it's just the right thing to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's, and that's what we talk about the party. One party will be mad at me, another party will be mad at me. But it's just like, it's just the right thing to do. It's,
Okay. And so, like, but as running for a federal seat, you're going to have to address the hot topic issues, right? So where do you fall on, especially with your military perspective? We'll start with the southern border.
Yeah, border, we have to shut the border down.
Okay.
The border has to be shut down. There, we cannot continue doing what we're doing at the rate it's going. We have to shut that border down.
It's a national security issue.
It is a national security issue. We have people coming in that are on the no-fly list. Things like that. There's people crossing. I think they said the other day they had like 380 known terrorists cross the border.
Correct.
I mean, that's insane to me that we can allow that and we're not stopping it. Our military needs to be activated and fix that border, reinforce it, and get it right so that we can return it back over to the state so they can control it. Because we took all the equipment from the border agents.
Yeah,
we took away their thermal, their night vision. That's mind blowing.
It's a purposeful subversion to me. What's going down there, and just like you said, if you give the military that task, they will.
They will crush it.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean going down there with like machine guns.
No. Shoot anybody.
That's not what I'm saying.
We will line connexes there. You won't be able to see that other side. No, we'll put Jersey barriers, HESCO barriers, everything you need out there.
Correct.
We'll do that.
And then you, like with your nonprofit and your humanitarian side of your personality that I'm hearing, when I say that, because I feel like the counter argument is like you're not a Christian, you don't care about the plight of these people. It's like I think you can do both.
Yeah, you can.
Agree? We can shut the border down. Exactly. And still try to help these people out versus just saying, hey, come in, go wherever and we'll bus you somewhere.
Correct.
And then we're going to give you. I saw a headline on the news the other day in New York. They're giving more money to what do they call them? They don't call them illegal aliens anymore,
refugees,
migrants, or whatever, than they are the VA. Than they are for veterans. I mean, that's
Chicago. They shut down a public school.
Yeah, they're doing. Yeah,
how does that make you feel?
It irritates me because I know that there's, like I said, this comes back to the humanitarian crisis that we're having here in the United States. That money could be redirected to our own people.
Correct.
That's our own people. And there is a time and a place for them to be able to come into our country, but we have to make the process a little bit more streamlined. There's some work to do on that level, but there's a lot to do. But first of all, if this plane is crashing, I got to put my mask on before I can put your mask on.
That's right.
And that's where I stand with it. It's, I just look back and I listen to all the people there. Everybody's got an opinion about the border when I hear it, and they're all like hardcore left, right. And I'm just going, it's not what we got to do.
I think the Republican side, the blowback is that you're not a human or humanitarian enough. You don't care about the plight of the other people, but I think you can do both. That's why at this point I'm trying to make.
Yeah, and that's what I try to tell people. You don't have to choose.
Right.
You don't have, look, shut down the border and then we'll figure it out. But if a bathtub's leaking, we got to drain it, patch the hole, and then we can put back water. There's a place for both, because that's the thing is like, people say, oh, you're a humanitarian, so you can't be Republican. No, Republicans are humanitarians. Right. Just the other ones are just louder than the good ones. And there's a bunch of me running around in the Republican Party, but we're doing it behind closed doors, talking to one another, whispering it, because so-and-so might say something but the Republican Party is full of humanitarians. They're full of Christians. They're full of all these great, wonderful people that I know they're out there, because I talk to them on a regular basis behind closed doors. They're like, McGill, you're probably my favorite Republican, because you understand the party, you understand the government, and you understand the people, and that's the thing is like, you got to have, be well-rounded to be a congressman, you got to be able to hear everybody speak and understand and relate to them. Yeah. You mentioned the insurance stuff. We need representation in DC. Yeah. My mom, down here especially, my mom can barely afford the insurance on her house. And we live in Long Beach, and she has a house south of the tracks, and insurance is killing us. It's just crazy. And it's inflation. It's people taking money from these insurance companies and things like that. We have to hold somebody accountable. But as long as the insurance company is dumping money into these congressmen, they're not going to do anything. And that's what it comes down to. Is like, it's what it is. People are being bought off with big money at the congressional level. There's no reason for our stuff to be as high as it is. I mean, don't get me wrong. Yes, a house was built in 1970. It is going to cost more now to rebuild it. I get that. But it's just, when we look at the charts, it just shot up. Since Katrina, they found out how much they can get from us. And they were like, well, if we can get that much, we can probably get a little more. Yeah.
And that's what brought up the guy with the fishing pole, the dollar over it. How far do you want to live on the water? Okay. Well,
and that's what it is. Like, oh, you want to live in this beautiful house? And now it's driving out the people that's lived on the coast all their life. And now it's bringing in these rich, big, beautiful home, multi-million-dollar homes that me and you can't afford. And the normal person is getting pushed out north of I-10 or wherever where the insurance is a lot cheaper. And the extreme wealthy are taking over, that are from different states. And our fishermen, our mullet men, the ones throwing cast nets, our oystermen, we can't afford to live on the coast anymore. And that's terrible. And we have to get in there, and we have to find a way to start bringing that down. And I don't have the greatest answer, but I know people that do. And we just got to sit down with them and say, hey, let's start getting some subcommittees and start pulling this thing apart and finding out what it is. If anybody tells you that they got an answer that will fix it, they're just blowing smoke. Yeah. And that's the thing is, like, if you take one thing from me, that you take away from me, that I'm pretty level-headed. I know that I'm not going to blow smoke. I never will, never have. I know how it's going to work. I know it. I hear people say on the campaign trail all the time, I'm going to do this, 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 and this. As soon as I get there, it's impossible. You can't do that. But the people fall for it. And then all of a sudden, then they come back to them and be like, you didn't do what you promised us. Well, because they made you an impossible promise. I will not do that. I'm just a normal guy. I'm just an average person that got out of the military. I've been for 20 years, and everybody had to tell me what I could and could not say, and they can't no more. And I got plenty to say. I worked with the government and with funding and contracts and worked on that stuff for 20 years. I know what the government does. I know the bureaucracy that comes from it. And I know how to deal with it. I survived it for 20 years. A civilian person cannot go into the government and then all right, we're going to fix some stuff without even knowing how the system works. The system is broken so bad in there. Look at our military right now. I recruited for 4 years in Philadelphia. I was a recruiter there in one of the hardest places in the country to recruit. And I saw firsthand what is degrading our military when it comes to recruitment. we're the smallest we've been in 80 years. Our military is so busy trying to be woke that we're not focusing on our level 10 tactics. The mission, exactly. We're not training because we don't have the right money for it, because we're spending on everything. Oh, we can't go to the field. Correct. And, and those are the issues. Like, we got to get our military back, and it is going to start with recruiting. Like, we're taking the benefits away from soldiers. Like, it's insane. For example, the other day, the Department of the Army decided they're going to cut back on when a soldier goes to deploys. They pay for our rental storage. They household goods. They store it.
Right.
Not anymore. They're taking that away.
Yeah, because that's where we should cut.
Yeah,
is that right?
That $300.
When have you ever seen him put up a bill for Ukrainian war coffers, whatever you want to call it? Right? I've never seen him be like, we don't have the money for that.
No, they got the money.
280 million, a billion, boom,
Look,
done. Let's go.
I was a platoon sergeant. I had a platoon of soldiers, and two-thirds of my soldiers qualified for food stamps.
God,
like, I mean, you're telling me you're going to make a kid that you sent to war pay for food stamps?
And that's a sergeant.
Yeah, this is E5 and below.
Yeah.
E5 and below is on the struggle bus. And then I got a young soldier that's an E1, 2, or 3 with 2 kids and a wife, and you won't take care of them. That's the problem. Like, who's going to fight for them? Me. Because I've been there. I've been that E1. I've been that E2. I know exactly where the problems are broken down is and where they need to be fixed. And if we don't put an educated military man that can understand that, that alone is going to fall apart. You're going to send you got a civilian that's never been in the military that's going to send sons and daughters off to war that never put on a pair of combat boots. That's crazy to me, and I can't allow it.
Yeah.
I cannot allow a man or a woman that's never served their country to understand what the struggle is going through a pre-deployment, getting your gear together, leaving your sons and daughters in the grass when you get on the bus and drive away. They don't understand that, but they'll be quick to tell them off. But I'll tell you one thing, to this day, the day I get elected, I will be at the funeral of every dead soldier that dies overseas. If they die in combat, I will be there, and I will salute them. I've been putting the flags on soldiers' graves for almost 20 years. I've done too many. Don't like doing it. But at the same time, they deserve the respect and honor and the dignity.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you that, when these 3 soldiers died here in Jordan, like, I was already mapping out where the funerals were so I could get to them.
And they were a 1 day, 10-minute news cycle, and that was it.
Terrible.
Yeah. Three
Correct.
American patriots, right?
What
exactly. Was it 3?
It was 3. Okay. 34 injured, 3 died.
Yeah.
They were reservist unit out of basically out of Georgia. All 3 funerals were in Georgia. And I'm on my way. I am going. But the families wanted to keep it, when I totally get it.
Right.
But even if I wasn't running for Congress, I would have been there. I just need to know if I can do it. And those are the things that we got to have compassion for our military personnel that we're not getting with any other candidates. And it's not their fault. They don't understand. They think they do.
Yeah.
But, it's like, somebody's great uncle or grandfather was in the military, and so they under the World War. And I get it. But at the same time, until you can understand PTSD, if you can understand that kind of thing, and you can say, I got you, buddy. We got, that's the thing. We got there. Yeah. And that's what it is. It's understanding the programs that are in place in the military that we got to improve.
What about recruitment? You mentioned that, though.
Yeah.
Without you're saying they're cutting stuff like paying for your storage and stuff. Outside of that, like, how do you get this soft society?
So,
do you lower the standards of the military?
It's simpler than that. No, the standards have to stay the same. But what we do, we have to incentivize people to want to join, and it's not money. We got to show people it is wonderful to be a soldier. Right. It is the most dignified job in the world. As a recruiter, I would go into schools and teachers would tell students, if you join the military, you're not any good. Oh yeah, absolutely.
In front of you?
Yeah. Oh, in front of the kids, in front of all of them. Like, people wouldn't even let me in the schools.
I'm pushing mine. Military.
Yeah. Well, me too. My son will join the military. And that's, so we have to redignify the military. But when we make the military recruiting commercials that we're making, that's insane. Like, when I saw it, I was like, oh my God, it's like, we want a fighting force, but we're not, it's like, hey, look, pick up a rifle and follow me.
Well, it's kind of labeled as a dirty job now.
Yeah.
Like, you want to go to Ingalls and Weld? No. You want to go to the military? No.
And that's the thing. It's like, we got to put the dignity back in the job. And as long as we're paying soldiers that qualify for food stamps, they're not going to join. As long as we take away their benefits daily, they're not going to join. We must continue to reinforce and make it. But man, that's a really good paying job. If our military budget's going to be 60% or whatever it's going to be, a large portion needs to go to soldiers.
Yeah.
And you should be able to live in a house. If we look at base housing, I know soldiers can see through the walls.
That's
I got
crazy.
a soldier that's wife fell in the bathtub because the house was messed up and she broke her back.
Crazy.
Because the house was not up to standards. If that house would have been in the civilian, in the city, it would have been condemned. But military has a different set of rules. We don't do those kind of things. The things you're like, this is my pride and joy. Let me take care of my son or my daughter. And they're just not doing that. So recruitment is picking up, the lowest level of people currently right now, when we should be a prestigious organization. And until we create an environment of prestigious organization and you get the respect and the dignity and be like, if you join the military, you can do, you will get these 3 things or 4 things, whatever it is. Like we talk about our college, but our TA programs is not doing very well, and then we want to, it's like, look, join the military, go to random story. I just finished my degree 2 months ago. Like it took me like 97 years, but
congratulations.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I went 7 years at Mississippi Gulf Coast Community College, so I'm not far behind.
I was in Africa. I did classes in Africa, Korea, all over the world. So, but like it took me that long to do it because
what was it in?
Business management.
There you go. Okay. Yeah.
And it's like, but it took me doing one class at a time, and it was like, hey, I'd really like to go to college. And the big Army would be like, absolutely, you can go to college. And at the Army level, you ain't going to college.
You go to college, man.
You want to get your eyes back.
Get back to the motor pool.
Get back over there.
Yeah, and that's where and like the toxicity. And this is a problem. The first question is, why are they leaving this military faster than we can put them in? Because the battalion levels and higher are toxic from the company or the battery level to the battalion or brigade level. It's toxicity. Nobody wants to be in the Army no more. A soldier, you'll hear it all the time. A soldier is like, hey, my baby's born. It's going to be born in 14 days. Well, you can't go because we got to go to NTC.
Right.
What? My baby's going to be born. They don't care. They just want to be 100% when they go into to National Training Center. That's all they care about. They don't care about. So that's where the first thing is we got to attack. Why are they leaving? Right. The Air Force don't have no problem with retention. But the Army does. The Marine Corps struggles with it. Right now, Marine Corps is rated a highly fighting force. Military is degraded. The Army and Air Force is degraded. Yeah. And these are the issues. Like we don't take care of the soldiers the way you think we do.
What are some of the other national issues that you?
You have to come on at one time though. Abortion. I mean, women's rights. Where do you stand on that?
This is a tough one because I am pro-life, but I don't think I have the ability to tell a woman what she can and cannot do with her body. I think we need to sit down and have a really good conversation about it. And this is a dividing force between, what makes a person a Republican and what makes a person a Democrat. And it shouldn't be. Every situation is different. I can't tell a stranger lady that I never met what she needs to do. And I think that's between a conversation between her and her doctor, much less a political party or your personal agenda. Like I said, I am 100%, pro-life. But on a
personal level, but maybe not
on a policy level. I just don't think I have the authority to tell a woman what to do. And I think that's just the way it is. Something I stand with. I think we need to have a conversation, like a realistic conversation. This topic should not be the end all be all conversation between groups of people. We need to have a conversation.
Yeah, it's a very complex issue.
It is. And we just can't.
You can't be cut and dry on it.
Cannot. It's not. And I hate it. And everybody's going to be mad at me, or some people will be proud of me.
Yeah.
But 50%,
you got to be you. I mean,
50% is going to hate me and 50% is going to love me. There's nothing I can do about it. But I think I think it would be crazy for me to say that I can tell somebody to do life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness.
Right.
That's right.
You know what I mean? So that's just the way it is. And that's where I stand with it.
How has campaign been so far?
Well, on the struggle bus, on the struggle bus. So I think so.
So you're not knocking on doors and kissing babies and stuff like that?
Yeah, that's the bus he's talking about.
Babies are soaking wet. Okay. There's like, but like, so for me, I've raised the least amount of money than my other candidates. You're
the lowest raised out of the 3?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
So, Mr. Rizal he's in Washington D.C. He's
Right.
got unlimited money. You
Right.
know, he's got money coming from every which way you want it. And then the other opponent, he put in $523,000 of his own money.
500.
This is the third.
You didn't have that?
No,
Yeah.
I've never even seen that. Like, I got an army tank that I used to be in charge of.
Right,
But
right. You could have sold
I
that.
couldn't imagine needing this. Like, man, I got an
You could have
idea.
sold
Like, I
that.
didn't see it.
I could pawn this tank
like,
and
drove one off the
Yeah.
lot. They'd have
Yeah.
never known.
Yeah. And so, you know, when you can afford to run 3 times in a row and do that kind of much money, and then you're getting, you know, PAC after you get these political action committees paying for you to do whatever you need to do. And you're like, and I'm over here like, hey, you know, I raised the first $5,000 that I raised came from active duty soldiers' cigarette and beer money.
Yeah.
Like, all my soldiers were like, here's $8
On
man.
the books.
I was gonna hear some Skull, or I was gonna buy a Red Bull. And like, so all my money was 100% raised by active duty soldiers on the first try. And that's just amazing to me that I was able to do that. Like, my soldiers that I raised for 20 years believed in me that much that they would be willing to do that. And so when we look at the numbers, they're broke down $0 to $200, $201 to $500, and they're broke down. When we look at the 3 candidates, one didn't raise any money in the $200 department. I raised second, and then Congressman Ezell raised the most, but he only beat me by $1,800. Now, he raised over $400,000 in the big scheme of things.
Right, on the higher tier.
But when we look at the grassroots, he only beat me by
nickel and dimed him.
I was digging in couches. I was digging in couches and everything else. But like, and if anything, I think that makes me the proudest that people that don't have the money believe in me.
The most on you.
Spent the most in me.
Yep.
And we did it like the first time. So they do it every 90 days. They look at our fundings. And the first time, Congressman Ezell only beat me by like $400. And then this time he beat me by $1,800. But like, and that's the way it is. The people that have the least amount of money like me the most, or the richest people, not so much.
Right.
But you know, I challenge people to go to go onto the website and look at who raised $101,000 and who raised, you know, $10,000 here. And then look at McGill. He raised $0. You know, like, I didn't raise I got a $1,000 donation. You'd have thought I was just like, I spent it instantly. I was like, we're buying signs.
Right.
You know, and it's like, so, you know, the incumbent spent $175,000 just on signs, I couldn't imagine if I had $175,000. I would be sick to spend that kind of money.
Right.
It would make me sick. You know how many kids I could feed with $523,000 or $400,000 when it comes to. I'm a people's person. I'm a people's candidate. I don't have PACs following me around. And you see why, because I'm just kind of a balanced person. I'm running not because I'm not because I'm a political person. I'm just a dude. I'm just a soldier that got out of the Army and needs to continue serving his country, maybe just in a different capacity. And I just want to represent everybody. I mean, there's 777,000 people in this district. And I want to know all of them. I care about them all, like, equally. I honestly care about them. And I don't think that everybody else feels the same way.
Yeah.
Do you have, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Where the majority of your funds go to? Signage, stuff like that.
So, So I raised a total of, like, ultimately right now I've raised like $7,000. It all goes to like signs. I spent $2,000 on a commercial, that I had to shoot a commercial. Now, I couldn't afford to get it I had to use social media to get the commercial.
Oh, yeah.
I couldn't afford it. A news organization called me the other day and was like, hey, we want to put you on the show. It's only going to cost you $7,000. I'm like, what?
We could have done it for $6,000.
We're way underbid.
We could have done it for $6,000.
We could have worked something out. And it's so crazy. Like, in politics, money matters. Like,
oh yeah,
it doesn't matter. You could be anybody, but if you got enough money, you can win. It's like, you're a terrible human.
Yeah,
but I got $800,000.
I mean, hasn't the proof shown itself multiple times?
Look at it.
Yeah,
look at all
like, we meet people all the time. They're like, oh, I want a young candidate that represents us all, and that's military. I'm here. Let's go.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, but it's like, we have to be about it and not just talk about it.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
That goes back to the American voter,
about it,
like I was saying.
Yeah, and that's what it is. It's like, I mean, if you want a normal person, choose somebody that has a pattern of doing the right thing for 15 years without making money in the nonprofit sector. Let's do that. You know what I mean? Pick somebody that has good moral character that you can track down and be like, okay, that guy's been a good man his whole life.
Yeah.
And not just because they're running for Congress.
Do you have a Facebook page dedicated to the campaign?
My website is stayamerican.org.
Okay.
And then, so that you can go to stayamerican.org and find me there.
So that's where you're most at. I see is this your personal page I'm looking at on Facebook?
It depends which one you're looking at.
That's his personal page.
Yeah. So mine is, the other one is, my professional one is a picture of me in a blue jacket with a white background on it. That's my.
Okay. How do I look? Let me, I'm pulling up.
So Mississippians for McGill is probably it, or Mississippi MS for McGill.
Okay. Hold on 1 second. I'm going to share this right here. This is your website. Okay. I'm going to drop that into the comments on the live.
Just to let you know, there's Venmo, PayPal, and Cash App links on there. You can just click the little buttons. But, and that's funny. Like, I want $5. I want $2. That's all I want. I would rather have 100 people give me $1 than one person give me $100. I want people to get involved in the political system. I want people to say, hey, I'm mad, and I'm going to pick McGill because I'm mad at the system.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what I want them to do. I want them to be frustrated like I am and say, I'm picking the guy that doesn't have anything to lose. That's it. Because like when this election's over, win or lose, I'm still going to be in the nonprofit sector. Right. I'm still going to go out with these other nonprofits. Like, you got Back Bay Missions, got some great stuff going on. You got Loaves of Fishes and Blogs going. Right. I can tell you all the nonprofit sectors. I know exactly who I am. Like, call McGill if we need a thing. They don't call their congressman when they need a thing. Because the congressman ain't going to return the phone calls. And that's just not Mike Gazelle. I have nothing wrong with Mike Gazelle. That's just across the board. I just have a desire to make our country a better place. I just desire to make our community a better place. And I think this is the only way for me to do it is to put my head on the chopping block. Like
that's a lot to put out there.
Yeah, it really is.
But I got nothing to lose.
If somebody wants to shoot you a question, where's the best way to get in touch with you?
So you can reach out to me through Facebook Messenger or you can find all my information on my website. I really like Facebook Messenger. Like, I think that's the most realistic way.
I didn't mean to interrupt you. You say Facebook Messenger. I went back on here. I see Mississippians for Michael McGill.
That's me.
That's a public group. Is there a page for that?
So that's my Facebook group there. Okay. But you can, if you'll look in there, you'll probably see my photo down there where I've added things in there.
Okay.
I think that page that you were on was his.
Okay, I'm just going to share that one. Yeah. So
it's got the American flag on the top with the hashtag
McGill, Stay American.
Stay American. Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to share that one as well. So that way people can. You're mentioning to send you a Facebook message. That way they know right where to go.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that's realistic because that's how we talk nowadays. It's like, don't call my office and leave a message because I ain't got no office. I put my own signs up. You know what I mean? Like every sign you see, me and my son has drove that stake in the ground just with a hammer.
Yeah, you got your crew right over here with you today.
Yeah, my son is my chief of staff. That's okay. He's my chief of staff. So he holds that. He's my minister of propaganda.
There we go.
Well, I will say this. I was driving my bus today at school, and some kids saw that. I wasn't driving, but I was stopped before the people loaded up. They were like, Facebook's like the old people stuff, man.
Yeah.
How are you reaching out to the young bucks? How are you getting
We're using TikTok. We're using TikTok. We're using Rumble. I'm sure you know what that is. Instagram. We're doing all that. You can find me on all those social media links out there. I'm like 30 people away from being 1,000 views.
Then you go live.
My God, the world will change.
You know, like with Joey's question, what's sad though is you talk about reaching like the younger crowd. They don't vote.
They don't vote.
They don't vote.
No.
They don't vote.
And you know what?
They don't show up to the polls.
I tell you what, I talk to so many people that are like, this is how broke we are. So I have to take my push cards and we go to parking lot of Walmart and we put it. Me and my son are literally like, son, we got to do 500 a day. We can go home. And we are literally we can't afford the marketing like these other guys. They can put a $90,000 commercial up. I'm just a soldier. We ain't got no money.
Yeah.
And so we go, we're putting push cards. So if you got a push card on your window, I'm sorry, but it's the best
getting the message out. Get the message out.
And it's the only way, and it's free. Every morning, if you see now, here's something everybody seems to like. Every morning from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m., me and my son pick a new county or some place to shake our sign. I got my big signs 4 foot by 4 foot.
Yeah.
And we just wave at cars and we get to see, I use the Department of Transportation maps. It's like, okay, 33,000 cars a day on this road at that spot. Okay. We're out there just like doing our thing.
I've seen your sign on 67 going to D'Iberville High School every day.
I'm so proud of that. I'm going to stand by it one day. What's your time schedule?
Right. And I'm there every day.
and we do. We literally wave at cars, thousands of cars. Like we have to find ways that are conservative to reach people. And how do that's the definition of conservative. We have to think every day, like how can we break through and meet specific demographics but yet not cost a thing.
Yeah.
And it might be me shaking a sign on the side of the road.
Well, if you take that philosophy up to DC,
That's
they're probably going to be blown away. They're going to laugh at you, but that's what we need, right?
Yeah. Laugh away.
Laugh away, man.
We need one of big inflatable.
Yeah. Oh, I've literally thought about, we can't afford to rent it though. We checked it out. I was like, hey, can I get it for 8 minutes? Yeah.
Right.
I thought about having my son just do it.
Yeah. Stayed out there and like
spin
the sign around.
Yeah. Spin the sign. But that's the thing is like, but like I said, unfortunately, someone like me, we struggle with money and we have to raise it to continue the fight. I mean, they're never going to shut me up. They can't, they won't, they can't, because speaking is free.
Right.
But at the same time, like we have to like be sensitive about we go, okay, we got X amount of signs. How can we do this to make it count? You know, do we need to pull it up and move it, move the same sign around? But, and that's the thing is like, we're just normal people running for Congress. We're not anybody important. We're not professionals.
Mm-hmm.
We're just a family, just doing this.
Tell me that primary date again.
So March 12th is the primary.
Okay. So as we record this is February 15th. So March 12th, we got a little bit of time.
Yeah.
What are you going to be doing in between recording this and that date? What's on your calendar?
Right now, we're just doing whatever we can. We're shooting, we're doing like TikTok commercials or things like that. And we're getting out and meeting people. We're consistently in the environment. Like, I promise you, nobody's out maneuvering me.
Are you knocking on doors?
We're knocking on doors.
Okay.
We're calling people. We're putting out flyers in the mail. We're making
any events that you're going to be at?
Yeah, it depends on if people want to do them. So like, a random person was like, hey, I'd love to have you come over to the house and we have events. So it's very impromptu when it comes to it. So you just have to pay attention. If they'll follow me on Facebook or they'll follow me follow my website, they'll be able to see where the events are coming up. So it just kind of depends on who wants to do what. We try to get a lot of the public events. We attend a lot of them. Like I'll be here and then you're like, well, he was here at 9. How did he move 3 counties in 2 hours? Because that's what we have to do.
Yeah.
And that's the way we maneuver. Like I said, if anybody knows anything about me, they know I talk too much and I don't stop moving. And that's the kind of thing that I want.
Your son's shaking his head.
He knows. Because he knows.
Like, oh,
he's so tired of me right now. He's on Mardi Gras break. He's
he's over this. He's like, this is not the vacation I thought I was getting.
Are you putting signs in people's yard?
Yes, we're putting signs, as they call. So we got some of the little signs. So we got a bunch of them ordered. Once they arrive, we ran out. So as they're coming, all they got to do is message me or email me. They can find all my information on stayamerican.org, and then send me the message or something from there, and I'll get them whatever they need. So
get your boy to put it in his yard.
My son is excited to come out there. My chief of staff is very excited to be part of that. He wakes up.
You're learning so much. Son.
He wakes up every day and he's like, did you put the ramming post in the car? Yes, we did.
My shoulders are on fire. He's gonna look like all sorts of things after this.
He's got one big arm.
That's right.
He's hammering all day. It's hilarious.
That's right. Well, man, we appreciate you stopping by and chatting with us. I love the enthusiasm. I love the call to duty. Is that what good way to put it? Everything you've done with the nonprofits, everything in your military career for sure. I think your heart's in the right place. Absolutely. And people talk about it all the time. We want somebody that's not establishment. You want somebody that's got a fresh set of ideas. You want somebody who's most importantly in it for the right reasons, right?
That's exactly what it is. I think to close out with that and say, I tell people to be an architect with me. Now is a great opportunity for us all to work together. Mm-hmm. Take responsibility of the past and start working towards the future. That's anything that, my opponents, the Republican Party did good or bad, I will take full responsibility of their actions. Mm-hmm. And I will make, and from that point on, it will be my fault after, I will continue that way. And, but I think that's what we need is like, I'm not this is his fault or this fault. It's my fault. From this day forward, there's like a change of command when the military commander goes in, he says, anything that happens to this unit in the past, it is on me. And everything in the future is on me. Yeah. And I will continue that. I'm not a blame game kind of guy. Right. I will carry the burden of our country on my shoulders at all times.
I love it, man. I love it. Michael McGill, man. U.S.
Get out and vote.
Yeah, I think that's it. Like,
yeah,
even if you don't vote for me, just get out and vote.
Yeah.
What I mean? Just vote for somebody.
People have died for that, right? I agree. Get out there and
random story real quick.
Go ahead, man.
So when I was in Iraq, we were there and it's related to voting. It's right there when the votings were happening, the blue finger thing. You remember I got the So I was at a checkpoint in Iraq and near Fallujah, and a vehicle-borne ID came in and blew the hole into the line of people that were lining to vote.
Wow.
And like it was just mass chaos. And what they did, they just closed the gap.
Yeah.
Americans would have been like, I'm done voting for the rest of my life. They'd have
if it's raining outside, they're not going to vote, much less get blown up.
You're like, stick your finger out, and you're like, oh, it's windy. Oh, God. But, to see how important it is, and these people just wanted the right to vote for the first time in their whole life. And we take advantage of having that opportunity.
Yeah, we take it for granted, and people don't realize I don't
want jury duty.
Literally had
the last thing. You don't have to go to work. That's kind of a good thing.
But we've literally had people, many generations of young men die, women in this country for that right.
We're one generation
exercise it.
We're one generation from losing everything.
Yeah.
And, it's like, my son, I am now training my son to take on. My son will be the future leader of America one day. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it's going to be a city councilman or if it's going to be the leader of a Boy Scout troop or whatever he's going to do. I am training him to take on a position that he will make the country even a better place after I'm gone. And that's what I want.
After he gets done building fences.
Well, he's going to be a fence builder.
He's going to be a fence builder.
He's going to be ready to run campaigns for sure. So we appreciate your time stopping by tonight. Your family. Good luck to you. Please, like you said, everybody, just get out and vote. Whatever side of the aisle you're on, give me the date one more time.
It's March 12th.
March the 12th. Get out for the primaries and vote. We appreciate y'all tuning in on the live, the repeats, and in the audio side of things. I'll have all the links below. You can go check out his website, his Facebook page, and get to know more. So y'all keep tuning in, and we'll keep doing them.
That's right.
Later.